Oregon Mesa.
Hello.
Okay. Looks like some people are coming in. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Dominic. Okay.
Good to see y'all. Good evening.
Yes.
Hi, Yusuf. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, good afternoon, Natalia. Let's see. All right, let's get started. So there were a few of you that had a lot of questions about MESA. So I invited Kelly back on so that she could answer some of your questions. So right now, I'm going to open up the Q&A. Please, those questions that you were asking before about MESA and how it's going to run this year, put them in the Q&A. And guys, remember that you can look to see what everyone else has posted first, so that you can upvote it instead of typing in the same question. So I'm going to enable the Q&A now, okay? And we'll spend about, let's say, the first like 5 to 7 minutes answering those questions.
Welcome back, Amy. Good to see you again, Mary Jane, Julius. So, Amy, this session will end by 6 p.m. In fact, all of our sessions this week will end by 6 p.m. So you can count on that. You're welcome. While we're waiting for questions to roll in, one of the questions that we saw at the last session was about Demo Day and how Demo Day is going to work this year. So I just want to give you a heads up that we're not really going to talk about Demo Day a lot in our Intro to New Programs on Thursday, but we'll be talking about a lot of our different programs. For Demo Day, we're still brainstorming a lot of ideas. Some of the ideas that we have thought about have to do with trying to make it feel as in person as possible. You know, for those who've seen Demo Day before, you know that we have a lot of different exhibits, so tables where you can go around and talk to industry professionals. We want to make sure it feels as much like one-on-one connection, engaging time as we can. So that's how we're trying to design around your needs, but also still give every student group an opportunity to present their ideas. So we will definitely have the same features where you'll be able to pitch out your invention, where you'll be able to see exhibitors, but we're still trying to figure out the format that's the most engaging. And if you have any feedback or questions about that, you're welcome to email us at mesa@pdx.edu. So Ryan had a question. I don't have TikTok and can't get it. So how can you do the design challenge? That is such a great question.
I will go over that after we answer the general MESA questions, because this session is all about the TikTok design challenge. Okay. Yusuf has a great question that is, since we're in this webinar and we had to like register for the webinar, does that mean we're automatically in MESA? So Yusuf, that's a great question. Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah, so this session is really just a way to get people to learn about MESA and to re-engage folks who've been in MESA before. So to actually apply to MESA, you have to fill out an application. You can apply at this link here, which I'm going to share in the chat right now. Or you can, that's an English application. We also have our application available in Spanish if people prefer to fill out their application in Spanish. So I'll copy that link over as well. Oh, great. Thank you to our technical wizards behind the scene who just linked the application. So you should have received a prompt on the front of your screen with the application. So to enroll in MESA, the first step is filling out your application. And then we will look at your application your teacher will look at your application and then place you in the chapter. So once you hear from your teacher that you are in MESA, then you're officially in MESA. If for some reason your teacher is no longer running MESA at this year, you are still eligible for an invention club. Remember that the invention club is for students who qualify for free reduced lunch. So that is the one kind of key criteria there. But I will include a link to our flyer that I shared earlier with the Invention Club information. So you can, if you're curious about Invention Clubs with MESA, it's the same exact content that you would go through in a MESA Schools program, but anyone can enroll.
Yeah. I would also say, even if it isn't your teacher, so like your science teacher doesn't do MESA at your school, ask if any other science or math teachers or any other teachers at your school do MESA, because it may not be your teacher, but it could be another science teacher or another math teacher or just somebody else. And for those of you who don't have any MESA at your school, you could fill out the same student application, and we'll just direct you to an invention club, which happens online. Everything's online right now, so it doesn't look too different than what happens in MESA schools.
So in the chat, I see some questions from Amy. So just to clarify, launch week that we're in right now, it happens every day until 6 p.m. But for MESA, that's going to be once a week. So you'll still have time to do homework, don't worry. But it's once a week for an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how your teacher structures your MESA program.
Those are good questions.
So Ryan had a question. So if you were in MESA last year, does that mean that you're in MESA this year? Because we are in a virtual environment, we actually have fewer slots in the program than we normally do in your school. So in an in-person class, you know, we can have like 20 to 30 students, and there's space for that. Because of being in a virtual environment, MESA chapters are going to be a little bit smaller. They're probably going to have a maximum of 15 students, so you have more time to connect with each other. So your advisor may be your advisor will have a smaller group. You can connect with your teacher to find out if you are going to be in MESA this year. So once you submit your application and we get our applications in, then selection decisions are going to be made. If for some reason you're not able to stay in your chapter, say there's like 30 or 40 students who applied for your school, you would still be eligible for an invention club, and we can work with your teacher and try and figure out how to make sure that you get to still participate. But it helps to participate in things like this so that we can say like, hey, you know, Ryan's been really active, just a heads up.
Okay.
Thank you, Natalia, for sharing about the recording. So the recordings are going to be available after each of these sessions. So you will receive an email, right, Bianca, with the links to the recordings once they're available. It takes a little time for them to boot up.
Let's see. Okay. Were there any other questions? That are related to MESA.
Yeah, Kyle
MESA.
has a question. Does MESA offer any internships for high school students? We do not currently have any internships available. We are certainly still going to promote them out from our partners when they become available. But usually the internships that we share are typically in-person experiences. So a lot of our industry partners are trying to figure out right now how they can still continue to offer internships while being virtual. So as those opportunities become available, we'll announce them through our family newsletter, through MESA Every Day, through social media. So be sure to stay connected with us in those methods so that we can keep letting you know when opportunities are available.
Cool. Thanks, Kelly. So let's see. And if you guys have questions throughout the week, make sure to drop them in the chat. If there's anything, remember to, go to send them to ormesa@pdx.edu. Okay. But now we're going to move on and kind of talk about the TikTok design challenge. And if there's,
Bianca, can I answer one last question that just popped up?
I was going to say, if there's time at the end, Kelly can stay on and answer more questions. Is that okay?
All right, fantastic. Yusuf, I'll answer that one online. So okay. Thank you. I'm gonna go off, but I'm still in the background.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. All right, so guys, Just another thing before we get to the TikTok design challenge, something that Ebeth and I wanted to share in the fake news, social media, and spread of misinformation was actually a post that we have. And I am going to actually drop the link in this, copy the link. I'm going to offer it on the handouts tab. Let me see. So let's see. So earlier, Kelly and Tong had talked about Victor Glover, and he is actually going off to space soon. So what we wanted to do is kind of show you guys how information spreads throughout this week. So I am actually going to drop a handout into the chat. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. All right, so if you guys go to the handouts tab, there should be one with a picture of astronaut Victor Glover. And I'm gonna actually share my screen for a second so you guys can see. But the link is actually gonna go to this single PowerPoint slide. And what we want you to do is click on this link, which will take you to Instagram, okay? And repost this. So share this and tag Oregon Mesa, this is Victor Glover's Instagram, ISS, International Space Station, and NASA. And we want to see by the end of this week how far this post has spread. Because what's interesting about Instagram, there are a lot of stats about like how many people click on a social media post, how many people reshare it, how many people like it. So it'll be interesting to kind of track how far this post has traveled and how far the original message gets changed. I guess when you share things through the internet and social media, it's sort of like the telephone game when you were kids. You would play telephone in a circle, and by the time it got back to everyone, the message would be kind of garbled up. So we're going to see what ends up happening by the end of the week. Okay. So please go ahead and share that if you can. If you don't have Instagram, that's okay. You don't have to share it. All right. Okay. Now to get to our design challenge. Right. So a lot of you had some burning questions about this TikTok design challenge. All right. So once again, just pop questions in the Q&A and I'll review them afterwards for this design challenge session, and just be respectful in the chat. Okay. So Tong and Kelly mentioned earlier that this year's theme is designing for equity and La Familia. Can you guys drop in the public chat? What does equity mean to you? Because I think that's going to be an interesting theme across this week is, how do we design for equity? How do we design systems and solve problems that create a more equitable world for everyone? In your first MESA chapter meetings, you've learned about human-centered design. Those who haven't done MESA before, you'll learn about this through the year once you join MESA. And human-centered design is an approach to problem solving where you involve human perspective in all steps of the problem-solving process. Okay. Sorry for the messy slide. So this is just reminding you that this year we're making our families and our communities the client. Why are we making them the client? Because sometimes we miss the opportunity to solve problems that happen in our communities and in our neighborhoods. Solving family problems are important. The family is where we all start. So we want to make sure that we build our communities and enable everyone that surrounds us to, be able to have the same opportunities. So the challenge this year, as an individual or with a team, and this is the challenge just for this week, for MESA launch week. your team can be a group of 2 to 4 students. You're going to create a 30-second TikTok or Instagram video pitching an idea that would solve a problem currently being faced by your family and your community. So you would have to identify a problem, is there, I think a big problem that's happening right now is that people are, trying to figure out how can we exist in a world where COVID-19 is like the new normal thing. During the Oregon wildfires, and some of you may or may not have been affected by that, but it's like, how do you walk your dog when there's smoke in the air? How do you protect your dog? So identify a problem that's being faced by you and your community. Use human-centered design to brainstorm a few possible solutions. Pick a final solution. And then record your video. Sorry about that last step. I'll make sure to edit that out. What do you want to include in your video? You should say your team name. Your team name can be anything as long as it's appropriate. So if it's, dragons, fire-breathing monsters, whatever you want to call it. State the problem that you want to solve, and then tell us your proposed solution. You can use props, but you don't have to. So all you have to do is really just do some brainstorming, think about the problem, and then tell us what your solution is. But you can build a prototype if you want. If you have building materials at home, you can do that. You can wear costumes. You can include your client. So if you are designing a solution for a family member, you can have your family member be in the video, and you can actually turn to them and pitch your idea to them, or even have them be part of the demonstration. See, and then just be creative with the TikTok and Instagram filters and tools, and have fun, right? And I think I saw Amy say, do we have to build it? You don't have to build it. You can just talk about it. That's completely fine. Right. And how to submit your video. So there are three ways in which you will submit your video. You can submit on TikTok is one way. Instagram is another way. Or Flipgrid is the third way, okay? So if you're gonna submit through TikTok or Instagram, you would use Instagram Reels if you're using Instagram. Make sure you tag at Oregon MESA and use the hashtag MESA Launch Pitch 2020. It is very important that you do both of those things, because if you don't, we'll probably miss them. There's so much stuff on the internet. So make sure you tag at Oregon MESA and use the hashtag MESA Launch Pitch 2020, okay? And also tag all the members of your group if they have TikTok or Instagram. If you don't have TikTok or Instagram, or you don't want to use your TikTok or Instagram, you can submit your video on Flipgrid, and there's a link to Flipgrid here. I will provide this. I have it in the handouts. Let's see. Image offers. Okay. So you guys are actually getting a link to this same exact presentation, the pop-up offer that came up on your screen. So click on that link and save that link for later when you're doing your brainstorming. Okay. So these are the rules of how to submit through TikTok, Instagram, or Flipgrid. There's Flipgrid link there, and for TikTok, Instagram, or Flipgrid, you have to post your video by 11:59 p.m. this Wednesday, the 21st, okay? So the rules are just making sure there's appropriate language and visuals. If it's inappropriate, I will not include it. You'll automatically be disqualified. It must be approximately 30 seconds. If it's over 30 seconds, if it's like 31, 32 seconds, that's fine. If it's like 45, 50, I might have to cut a little bit off the end of your video. So if you don't want me to do that, just make sure you do it yourself. So it's in the like 30-second-ish range. All right. And how do we know who wins? So this Thursday at 3:30 p.m., we're going to do the challenge finale where we're going to watch all of the videos, all of the pitches, not just TikTok, but all the Instagram, Flipgrid, and TikTok videos. I'm going to put them all into one big video, label the different teams, and then you're going to vote for your favorite pitches. So you're going to vote for your top 3, and then we'll tally them up. At 5:20 p.m. during the closing ceremony, that's when we're going to announce the winners and the prizes. Okay. We want to, let's see. And if you want to learn more about like, how do I do a pitch? What does that look like? Come to the elevator pitch session on Wednesday. That's at 5:20 p.m. Okay. All right. So now it's time for questions. So this is specifically for TikTok pitch questions. Okay. And post it in the Q&A tab, please. I see in the chat, there's a lot of like questions about like, oh, I don't know what to do for my video. You know, just be creative. Like this isn't a formal challenge. This is just a challenge to kind of, you know, let you guys have fun, be creative, you know, use a platform that you wouldn't, you know, necessarily use for like, you know, STEM and MESA related stuff. So it's just for you to have fun, and then there's a potential for you to win a prize. Okay. Ryan says, what are the teams? Good point. So Ryan and everybody else, if you, you can create your own team. So you don't have to actually do this with the team if you don't want to. You can do it by yourself, but if you want to create a team, you would have to find one of your friends, whether they're in MESA, whether they're not in MESA, and work with this on them outside of the outside of launch week. Okay, does that answer your question, Ryan? I hope that answers your question. I don't know if you responded in the chat. Okay. Right. And Julius asks, is this pitch optional? Yes, it is optional. It is optional. However, we thought, you know, doing a 30-second video wouldn't take you guys too long. So it is optional. If you've got too much homework this week, if you're too stressed out by being online, you don't have to do this, but we highly encourage you because there are prizes. Okay. Mary Jane asks, is this just like any problem we see? Yeah, any problem. If you see, it can be something small, like, you know, how do I get to work today? Or it can be some, which like you can come up with, you know, 5 different ways people can get to work. But if there's like a big problem you see in your community, like, you know, those disposable masks ending up in our river water. If you have a way to solve that problem, or you have an idea of how to solve that problem, go ahead and pitch that, you know, pitch a solution for that. Oh, Kyle does ask a great question. Do all of your group members have to be in the video, or can multiple people collaborate on an idea, but one person be in the video talking? Yes, Kyle, you can do the video any way that you want to. I would just encourage you to tag those people so that they have like access to the video. So if you want to reshare it through social media you can. So if Kyle and 3 of his friends decide to join a group, Kyle can do all of the presenting and be on camera if he wants to. And then his friends who may or may not be a little more shy, can like help with like designing what the video looks like, but they don't actually have to be in the video. That's a great question, Kyle. Let's see. Oh, Ryan wants to know what the prizes are. Okay. So, Kelly, are you still there? Kelly, should I tell them what the prizes are?
I mean, I'm always about, I'm not going to keep any surprises, so.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
I'll just tell them it's not that big of a secret. So you guys, the prizes are a microbit controller, right? And I think it's the microbit starter pack. So you will get your own microbit starter pack to use this year. I think I don't know what it's going to look like in the MESA schools programs, but you're going to get your own microbit pack to use. For those who don't know what microbit is a programmable board that has like a bunch of lights and sensors and things like that. And you guys are going to learn how to use them this year in MESA. So. Natalia has a great question. She said, this is MESA, so I'm guessing it has to be a machine. Natalia, it doesn't necessarily have to be a machine. It could be like a series of steps, like, for instance, right? How do you put yourself out if you're on fire? The solution to that is stop, drop, and roll, okay? So you could do something as simple as that. You don't have to necessarily, pitch an idea for a machine. Okay. Let's see. Right. Those are great questions coming in, guys. Ryan says, do we get to keep it? I'm assuming he means the prize. Yes, the prize that you get. If you win the competition and you get a microbit by winning this competition, you get to keep that microbit. I wouldn't give you something. Yeah, it's a great one.
Stay with your invention. You get to keep your invention. We're not going to take it away from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. And I think we answered Mary Jane's question. We did say it can be any problem. Okay. In the chat. So now we have a couple of emails. Yusuf did post an email in the chat, ormesa@pdx.edu. That is the correct email if you'd like to send us an email. Okay.
So Bianca, one of the questions that came up in the chat was if there's a question about the design challenge, is ormesa@pdx the best email? And I said
no.
yes.
Oh, I will. Okay, so you guys, if you have a question about the design challenge, I will put my email on the last slide. I'm going to add a new slide to the challenge rules slide deck. Not in big marker, but like after the question slide, I'm going to add another slide that has my email address, and you guys can send them directly to me. Okay? And I will try my best to answer your questions there. Great. Okay. Well, those are some great questions. If we don't have any more questions today, then I think what we can, do you guys have any more questions for Kelly about like MESA?
Yes, Kyle, questions not relevant to the TikTok design challenge are open now. So if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free. I don't know that I can answer any question, but I will try my best. Amy has a question. Do we choose our problems or do you choose them for us? Great question, Amy. So you will get to choose your problem. If you're talking about for the MESA challenge for the school year, so the La Familia challenge, that is still open to you. It's really about what your client's problem is and helping to identify their need and designing for that. For the TikTok or Instagram design challenge, that is still up to you, but yeah, you can save the links to the challenge rules if you have further questions after the session.
Okay. Do we have any more questions?
Kyle Hansen has a question. Was the winner for the Flipgrid video raffle about why we love MESA pulled?
Oh, was the winner pulled? Yes, Kyle. Yes. There will be more to come about that one. Yes. For those of you who don't know, there was a Flipgrid, like Why We Love MESA challenge that was sent out. Was it early September? And we had a few different submissions. And I will let you guys know about that later in the week. For those of you who did submit. If you didn't submit, you weren't entered. The raffle is that's closed now. So you won't be able to submit. Sorry.
Yusuf, thank you for emailing the MESA account. I just saw your message, and I think it applies to a couple of people, so I'm just going to quickly share. If you're looking to start MESA at your school and MESA doesn't currently exist, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one is reach out to us so that we know we can help support you in getting this chapter started, which you already did that, so great job, Yusuf. Number two is reaching out to a school administrator or a teacher to let them know that you're interested in this. We've found over the years that the most successful programs are started by students who are really passionate and convinced a teacher to do it. So because we need an advisor who's a teacher at the school to run MESA, most effective strategy you can have is just asking someone like, hey, this was a really powerful experience for me. Would you mind being the MESA advisor? And then you can connect us with them if they have any questions. So reaching out to your school principal and or an interested teacher. The hardest part is definitely finding a teacher who has the time and availability. And once you find that person, it's a lot easier to get started. So certainly, if you have other questions about that, feel free to reach out. We'll send you some more information, Yusuf, that you can send out to your to any teachers or administrators at your school that you're interested in asking about starting MESA.
All right, everybody. So I just added a slide to the last. I added another slide to the challenge rules that you guys saw as a pop-up offer. If you guys did not see that pop-up offer, click on the handouts tab and click on offers and click view offer. And you should be able to see the link to these slides, okay? And on the last slide, I'm actually gonna share my screen. I'm putting in my information now so you guys can email me. Use the subject line, MESA pitch questions, okay? Right. All right, so that is all that we have for you today. I would like to make sure that we also get you guys to fill out. You can, let's see. There was supposed to be a link to the forms, feedback forms.
I can grab the link for that, Bianca.
Yeah, can you add the link to the
Absolutely.
feedback forms?
Just popping that in the chat, and then we'll put it in a pop-up.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So while we're getting that, getting the feedback form put up for you guys, remember to do a feedback for this session. That enters you in the raffle again. So another entry for the raffle. So while that's happening, we're going to play another College Cram video brought to you by Daniel. But I will put in the pop-up offer. So let's go ahead and play that video for you now.
Hi, my name is Daniel. Thank you all for joining us here. I'd like to give one of my professors actually a chance to introduce himself and explain why he's here.
Hi, Daniel. My name is Warren Harrison. I've been a professor at Portland State since 1988. I enjoy working with students, and I'm really glad to have this opportunity to speak with Daniel about meeting with your instructors and professors.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. So I guess one right off the bat that I can think of is how do you think students should start to build connections with professors when they do come to university?
Oh, that's an excellent question, Daniel. And it's very important that you do build those connections. I mean, it's a resource that you have available. Unfortunately, not a lot of students take advantage of that. The best way to get to know your professors, of course, is to meet with them outside of class. This is a little awkward nowadays, of course, because of the COVID situation. So a lot of what I'm talking about may not actually be applicable for another few months. But clearly, one of the things you want to do is that once we reopen operations on campus is to be on campus. We see many students who just basically show up for classes and then disappear. And you lose a lot of access to a heck of a lot of really valuable resources when you do that. So if you want to get to know your professors, there's a couple of ways to do it. One is, of course, is during their office hours. You can come by if you've got questions about the class. If you have questions about the class, you should definitely come by and talk to your professors during office hours. There's no question about that. If there are other aspects of the class that seem interesting, most professors are going to be extremely willing, in fact, very happy to talk to you. If you want to know more about maybe the history of some aspects of the stuff that you're studying, if you want to know what their applications are, what comes next, and things like this. So it's always valuable to come in and talk to your professors about that. If you're interested in general career advice, it's always a great opportunity to come in and talk to your professors and ask them, what some of their ideas and things like that might be. And if you find that your professor is actually doing research in a field that you're interested in, that's a fantastic opportunity to come by and strike up a conversation. Again, it's a little more awkward nowadays because we're doing everything over Zoom. And so it's not the sort of the thing where you're walking by, you see the professor's door open and you just knock on the door and come and say, hi, I'm in your class and I noticed that, or I realized that what you're talking about is really related to this thing I'm interested in. Most of the things we have now are not quite as spontaneous as that, simply because you have to make those sorts of arrangements to connect by Zoom and things like that. So it's a little tougher now, but hopefully we'll be beyond that in a few months.
Yeah, hopefully.
Now, one thing that is interesting at PSU, the way we have things set up, is the the academic advising in the sense of which classes you have and things like that have been over the years now very carefully demarcated. So we actually have a professional advising staff. And so if you have questions about what classes do I need to take to fulfill my junior cluster, or what classes are necessary for admission to the program, those questions ordinarily will go to our advisors, our professional advisors. And faculty in most cases are not going to be as prepared as they would be to be able to answer those sorts of questions.
So would you say then maybe talking to professors are more subject matter focused and career oriented focused rather than technicalities of your college career?
That's correct. And again, I'll point out that's for PSU. That's how we do things here. Other places may have different kinds of arrangements.
Sweet. And then also, I guess, touching on connecting with your professors, are there any common missteps or anything you notice students kind of making when they try to connect with their professors, or maybe don't try to connect with their professors?
Well, I mean, a common misstep is sometimes dragging the conversation on too long when you know there are people waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a legitimate question about the class, that's clearly fine, right? To take as much time as necessary to get through that, because our whole goal is for you to understand what we're trying to teach you. If you want to talk about just the general climate of the industry, and you look out and there's 5 people in line on the door behind you, that might be the best, might be a good time to excuse yourself. That is a really common misstep, and it's a little on the frustrating part because you don't really want to kick someone out of your office, but on the other hand, you see this line of students that are queuing up at your door. So I would say, when you are meeting with the professor, be sensitive to the fact that there may be other people who need that time as well.
Okay, awesome. I think I just kind of have one more question for you. So do you have any tips for students? Maybe I know that especially for when I first started university and even a little bit now, that I get nervous trying to talk to professors. So I wonder if you have tips for students kind of to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I probably the main thing would be to have some sense of what you're going to talk to them about when you show up. If you just kind of show up at the door and stand there, but I think that bringing up common technical interests, like for instance the topic of the course and things like this, should give you something to talk about. It's always uncomfortable. I'm an introvert, believe it or not, Daniel. I'm an introvert, and it's difficult for me to just sort of cold call people. But it's just something, it's one of those things you have to kind of get over. Professors are no different than anybody else, right? They're regular people, and so you shouldn't really be uncomfortable coming up to talk to them. But obviously, I realize people are.
Great answer. I guess, is there anything else you want to let the students know, maybe for their college career? Anything else you want to say to them?
Well, I would like to point out that these connections with your professors are extremely valuable. It seems like it's a long way off, but it really isn't. In 4 years, assuming you're a freshman, in 4 years or 5, you're going to be on the job market. You're going to be wanting letters of recommendation from professors, and it's really important that they can kind of associate a name with a face, and with some sort of remarkable things that you've done. I can't tell you how many letters of recommendation I write where pretty much the only thing I can say is, yeah, this student was in my class, they got this grade, that's about it. So it's good to be able to have a professor go, yeah, I know this student, they contributed greatly to some of the work MESA did. He was in my, a couple of my classes, did really well. That's a much better letter than, yeah, I could tell this person was in my class because I went back over my my enrollment sheet from 3 years ago and I saw their name.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking this time, Professor Harrison. I know my students are going to love this.
Okay, Daniel, thanks so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we might be having some technical challenges on Bianca's computer, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. Our session is officially closed, so you're welcome to head out. We can't wait to see you tomorrow. Our first session will start at 3:30, so we will see you then. Thank you again, and have a great rest of your evening. See you tomorrow. I'll stick around for a few minutes if anyone has any questions in the chat. Yusuf, I did message you back in our private chat, so if you have any questions beyond what we just talked about, let me know. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Amy. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Chantiel. And for those who are curious, tomorrow we'll kick off with our STEM Heroes session. So STEM Heroes will feature, tomorrow it will feature Marcus Bullock, who's going to talk about founding his company Flickshop. His company helps families send messages to those who are incarcerated. So he has created a really cool company. Can't wait to share more about that with you. So definitely come tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Amy, I just saw your question in the chat. So in your MESA sessions, you will definitely have more opportunities to build things directly. So your advisor will teach you how to, invent something from scratch. These sessions are really just to get our hands thinking and our minds thinking about like how might we build something. So yeah, you will absolutely be going through the design process in your MESA chapters when your chapter launches. And I believe you're at Parkrose Middle School, if that's correct, which means you have a couple of really great options for advisors, and they will walk you through that.
I'm back.
Hi, Bianca. Isn't technology fun, guys?
Yeah. Amy wants to know when we will learn to build stuff. So, Amy, once you get connected to a MESA school chapter or to an invention club, we'll be to the teacher of chapter or a club when you started. Am I still here, guys? Sorry, am I telling me that I'm not here anymore?
Yeah, Bianca, it sounds like you're cutting out a little bit. So we did answer that question. So as Bianca was sharing, same thing I shared, which is just that you can learn more about building your inventions directly when you are in your MESA chapters with your advisor, who will walk you through that process. Thanks for that feedback. Yeah, we are having some technical issues. Thanks, Amy. All right, if there are no other questions, I think we will close the session. Yusuf, I will follow up with you directly. I saw your last chat about approaching teachers. Definitely math or science teachers tend to gravitate towards the MESA advisor role, but any teacher at your school could run MESA. So the best step if you don't have a teacher in mind is just to connect with the principal or assistant principal, so I can help you with that. So I will be in touch with you. Thank you so much for your excitement. All right. Thank you so much, Mary Jane. Thank you. And I think we're going to end the session now. So have a great evening, everybody. If you have any further questions, again, or mesa@pdx.edu, feel free to email us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, thank you.
Bye, guys. I hope you're all doing okay. Am I still lagging, Kelly?
No, I think you're much better. Not lagging quite as much.
I don't know what's going on. It's great that it lasted this long, though.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. And we are still live. We are having some difficulty shutting down the session. So
Oh,
Rob is working to get back in, our handy technical assistant.